Sri Lanka's most powerful news brand.
I saw a post on a social media site saying the only Prime Minister to fearlessly face such a presidential commission is Ranil Wickremesinghe. That is true. He is also the only Prime Minister in the world who helped others to rob the country's central bank. In other countries, if a train topples, the Minister of Transport resigns. However, who has taken up the responsibility of the central bank theft? Who has resigned? It has been proven today that the former finance minister who resigned accepted bribes. He gave up his ministerial portfolio. Now he is in the backbenchers biding his time. Members of parliament are expressing various views to implicate themselves. They say it was Ajit Pereira who recommended that I be appointed as the chairman of COPE. If Ajit Pereira accidentally spoke to lawyers regarding the bonds mistakenly, then the chairman he appointed is also wrong. So they say Handunatti should resign. Amazing statement. I was the chairman when the COPE report was made. Aloysius had called up others in this committee 300 times, 62 times. Then why didn't he call us? He could have directly called us. 4 of us were in the committee. Andrew Kumara, Bimal Ratnayaka and Nalinda Jayatissa and myself. They didn't call us and we didn't call them. Why didn't they call me? Because if they did call me, I would have finalized a report on the same day saying that Aloysius is the thief.
Good evening and welcome to the Newsfirst newsroom. You just heard the views that were expressed by JVP parliamentarian Sunil Handunatti. Now you might have seen recently a poster which read Bayanati Agamati in Sinhala, which loosely translates to fearless Prime Minister. Now you begin to think, what has Ranil Wickremesinghe done to earn this title of fearless Prime Minister? Just because you go before a presidential commission of inquiry, do you become fearless? Then in that case, there might be a lot of other people in the United National Party as well who could use the term fearless before their title. Now, this scam that the Presidential Commission of Inquiry is working on, is investigating, is worth billions and billions of rupees. The effects will be felt over a number of generations as well. The effects are being felt today as well, and that is through our economy, through the rising cost of living, through the rising cost of essential goods that you are feeling in your pocket. Each day we reported on the bond scam and the revelations made through the Presidential Commission of Inquiry, and there were some startling revelations that came out throughout this investigation. There were a lot of other media organizations who reported on this bond investigation as well. And it seems like the politicians and the general public know what is coming up in the horizon in terms of this Presidential Commission of Inquiry and its investigations. It is in this backdrop that we set up for our next package, which is a statement made by former President Mahinda Rajapaksa last night.
මේක හරි අසාධාරණයි. ඒක ඉතින් ගෝඨාභය ගැන කියනවා, අනිත් පැත්තෙන් මහින්දානන්දව අතුලට ගෙන යනවා, තාපැත්තකින් බැසිල් ගෙන යනවා, තාපැත්තකින් මේ අනිත් අය ගේනවා.
The names that were mentioned by former President Mahinda Rajapaksa included Basil Rajapaksa, Gotabaya Rajapaksa and former Minister Mahindananda Alutgamage. Now they do have a number of allegations against them, as well as a number of court cases that are being heard at present. We often see Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Basil Rajapaksa going before court and coming out of court and giving statements to the media. Now recently there was something which happened where Basil Rajapaksa made a request to the courts through his lawyers to change the judge who is hearing a case relating to Basil Rajapaksa. That is because the judge had previously given a verdict against Basil Rajapaksa's brother's former chief of staff, that is former President Mahinda Rajapaksa's chief of staff. Now imagine if there was an actual family of criminals and there were cases being heard against them, and each member of this family went before the court and said, no, I need the judge to be changed because he would be prejudiced against me, he would give a verdict against me. Then we would run out of judges to hold these cases or to hear these cases. There is nothing to fear if you have not committed any mistakes. Speaking about mistakes, it seems like it is the perfect time for you to be in Sri Lanka if you have committed fraud in terms of foreign exchange, because according to experts, the new foreign exchange regulations that have been brought in freely allows money that was stored elsewhere out of the country to be brought into the country freely without any question. Now, there was talk about this new legislation today as well in various places around the country. Let's listen to these comments and then let's join the debate once again.
රවි කරුණානායක මහතාට එරෙහිව මීට පසු කිසිම නඩුවක් ගොනු කිරීමට නොහැකි.
Nobody will be able to file any case against Ravi Karunanayaka any further. At that time, the value was 321 million rupees. They demanded that sum back then, and the Attorney General opposed that demand because it was evidence. The Attorney General said the request must come from Raj Radratnam himself. This sum of money comes under the crimes committed through the violation of the country's law, the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, and the Exchange Control Act. That sum of money was invested in Sri Lanka while it comes under those crimes. However, now all that money is to be made available to the person who made the request. It is sad to note that anyone who is aware of the Code of Criminal Procedure Act would know one cannot conclude any investigation in such a small period, and concluding a trial in such a period is just a dream. A specific condition has been mentioned on purpose because there are investigations underway against many of those sitting in the opposition in addition to Ravi Karunanayaka. Under the Foreign Exchange Act, no charge can be filed against anyone who committed a crime under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act and many of those who testified before the Bond Commission. They will be seen as people who have been acquitted. This act has been passed by deceiving everyone else.
කොලේ වහලා අපි සියලු දෙනාම මුලා කරලා මේ පනත සම්මත කරලා තිබෙනවා.
දැන් මේ පනත සම්මත කරලා
After passing this act as the subject minister, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe has taken over those powers. He has created the environment to control the finances of the country and foreign exchange as per his wish. He planned the bond scam at a time when he did not have the power to control things as per his wish. He acted disregarding the statements of the Monetary Board and committed that crime. They have now created the environment for more such crimes and theft to take place. Therefore, this act that is dangerous in nature must be defeated.
එසා මේ භයානක පනත මේක පරාජයට පත් කළ යුතු පනතක්.
මේක පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ සම්මත වෙලා තියෙන්නේ 2017 ජූලි 25 වෙනිදා.
This was passed in Parliament on the 25th of July 2017. At the parliamentary debate, there were 96 votes in favour and 18 against. That is how it was passed. When this was being debated in Parliament and when a vote was to be called to pass it, there was no attempt from both the government and the opposition to make the people aware of it. The TNA, which the opposition leader represents, voted in favour of this act. 17 MPs from the joint opposition and 1 JVP MP had voted against it. They have voted against it as only a signal of opposition and have not taken any action to question the act or prevent it from being passed. This act is now in force and it repeals the previous act. It says all cases filed under the previous act must be taken to trial and be concluded within 6 months. The issue is this. There are 36 cases that we are aware of. There may be more cases that were filed under the previous Exchange Control Act. Those cases cannot be heard and concluded within 6 months. For example, there are many cases filed against Mahinda Rajapaksa, Namal Rajapaksa's secretary and others for exchange control crimes committed during the Mahinda Rajapaksa administration. All these cases will be cast aside because of this new act. The cases are not against Mahinda Rajapaksa and his associates alone. One of the cases filed was against former Finance Minister Ravi Karunanayaka. That too will fall with the cases that are to be cast aside. This act clearly states the minister is vested with the power to decide on what cases must be taken to trial and what cases should be cast aside. It states every investigation and inquiry shall be concluded within a period of 6 months from date of commencement unless an extension of time is obtained with the approval of the minister. Through the change of the act, there is a process which acquits suspects who have cases filed against them until that moment. The previous act did not have any article which said every investigation and inquiry shall be concluded within a period of 6 months from date of commencement. Take the bond scam or any incident that is surrounding foreign exchange. If a case cannot be filed in a period of 6 months after submitting evidence and a B report, the act will be termed as not a wrong and no more cases can be filed for that particular offence. This was not evident in the previous act. It is clear. Introducing a new act is an attempt to release people who currently have cases filed against them. This is also an attempt to prevent any new case being filed in relation to any financial crime.
You might have heard of the term history repeats itself, and it is evident in politics more than anywhere else in the world. Now, usually how it starts is you'll see a political upheaval. Then there are people who come before the public and give a number of promises. They eventually come to power. Then they start oppressing the people, and eventually they start losing their power, and they lose their power altogether. Seems like this government has already ticked some of those boxes and is continuing on its way. As we mentioned over the past couple of days, as the investigations of the Presidential Commission on the bonds reaches its crescendo, there are various incidents that come along that prove to be a distraction to the public from this Presidential Commission of Inquiry. Incidents such as what happened in Gintuta, incidents such as the rumors of a fuel shortage that went rampant just before Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe appeared before the Presidential Commission. Now, the latest topic of discussion is the no confidence motion that has been brought in against Minister Faisal Mustafa. Two no confidence motions have been brought in, one by the joint opposition and one by the JVP. Now, you need to take a step back and think, why was this no confidence motion brought? Because the elections are not being held, and previously we have heard that the elections were not being held because of wrongful delimitation done during the time of former Minister Basil Rajapaksa. Now, interestingly enough, today the Elections Commissioner said that they will be able to hold the local government polls for 93 local government bodies which are not restricted through the court cases that are ongoing. So, if a no confidence motion was filed when there was uncertainty about holding local government elections for all local government bodies, does that mean some faith in him has been restored because 93 local government bodies will get the election? We don't know. Keeping this in mind, we're going to listen to some statements expressed by State Minister Dilan Pereira.
The President is being publicly accused of establishing the Presidential Commission of Inquiry into the bond scam for a political conspiracy. No, the commission was appointed to capture the thieves, and this program is going about quite well. The Prime Minister himself had to appear before the Bond Commission. Some say this as a major act of heroism, and some say this as equal to a witness or suspect appearing before court. No matter which spectacle you were to see it, the Prime Minister had to appear before a commission appointed for a certain theft only because the country's politics has been steered onto the correct path. When this process is going ahead quite well, various factions make statements to cast multiple obstacles. Some are trying to divert the attention of the public from the bond scam by bringing in no confidence motions. Why? Because the general public are beginning to see how an unimaginable number of thieves are being exposed through this massive scam.
Chairman of the Elections Commission, Mahinda Deshapriya, attended a function in Colombo this morning titled Role of Independent Commissions. Now, the statements that he expressed here are very interesting. We need to state that we agree with the statements made by the Elections Commissioner 150%, and we hope, we pray that the words of the Elections Commissioner reaches the ears of the leaders in charge of this country. And we also hope that the public, the people watching, will pay special attention to the words of the Elections Commission Chairman.
I don't agree with this topic. the role of independent commissions. According to our constitution, we don't have any independent commissions. Unless we think that if the word independent comes, we have something, some strength. Even election department and election commission, we from the very beginning, we were and we are independent. I request and beg the speaker in the next time, please publish the names, application or the names of the people who have proposed the names to the CC for the commissions, and what is the criteria. I don't know, it is right or wrong to say this thing in front of the media. And this is also, I don't like this symposium with this media, because this is, we can't speak freely. Especially the things I have to say, I have to shut my mouth, I can't say something. Because I think this is a discussion, not a media show. I'm sorry to use that word. If the authority is not publishing the gazette, or the legislators not pass an act, what can the commission do? Their cabinet has approved the act, draft act, but it is not in the order paper in the parliament. Can the commission or any commission can go to the court? The audit bill, audit commission bill, I think more than 2 years it is there. And our act, election act, everyone is blaming to the election commission, not only, especially the chairman, not having the election. Even after this judgment, also some said that Mako Koyako Chande in Facebook. If I put any comment on something, Yako TV balabala inna to chande tiepa. Everyone thinks we can conduct the election, but if the necessary support from the legislators or the parliament, can it conduct the election? So that is what is the role of the commission. To come to the office every day or once a week and put the signature and go back. We have the National Delimitation Commission. Act number 17, 2017 says provincial council delimitation must done by 5 members appointed by the president. But the National Delimitation Commission is there. I have to thank Honorable Speaker Sir. I raised this point with him. I spoke with the Honorable Prime Minister. They agreed. And they put 2 members, additional 2 members, add to the National Delimitation Commission and do that. Why? The persons who draft that act, they did not know there is a National Delimitation Commission. Why? No one knows what are the commission, what are their functions. Actually, the National Delimitation Commission, TOR, is not there in this constitution. Research when we were young, we said shock-proof and waterproof. What we are doing is, we have 3 things our motto is. One is courts-proof, next one is audit-proof, other one is conscience-proof.
Among the others present were Speaker Karu Jayasuriya, UNP parliamentarian Dr. Jayampati Vikramaratne, Governor of the Central Bank Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy, and other personalities from various sectors.
Well, earlier was the chairman of the Elections Commission, Mahinda Deshapriya, speaking at an event in Colombo. Thank you, Ramesh, for that comprehensive report. In fact, we have more news coming up. That's after this short commercial break. Stay tuned. President Maithripala Sirisena visited the temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic today. The President was welcomed at the Temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic by Diyavadane Nilame Pradeep Nilangat Dalla. The President thereafter paid homage to the Sacred Tooth Relic and obtained blessings. The Chief Minister of the Central Province and several others accompanied the President. Meanwhile, a group of JVP and UNP activists in the Kandy district met with President Sirisena and pledged their support to the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. The meeting was held this afternoon at the Presidential Palace in Kandy. Over the recent days, a series of rural development projects launched with the commitment of the local community were vested with the general public. Tonight, we take a look back at some of these projects completed through the Gammadh initiative.
A science and computer laboratory declared open, connecting the children of Murahenagama, Ginigathena with the rest of the world.
2 was brought to our attention by Sirasa Gammadh, the program. After the program showed children studying under the trees due to lack of classrooms, which I have seen on the video. It is then that we decided to take on this project and provide a multi-purpose building with 6 fully equipped classrooms for the school, which we managed to complete just in the
village of Ratmale in Agalawatha, home to 300 families, lies in a plateau. A project was launched to bring an end to their search for clean drinking water. Drinking water projects launched at the Alabe Mulla and Mahabellan Primary School.
There is no greater deed than giving drinking water to children.
Drinking water project launched in Iriagolla Ramukkana, in which most inhabitants have fallen victim to chronic kidney disease.
So I very much congratulate the Gammadh initiative as a private initiative to raise awareness on your situation. I understand you have a huge potential, though I would encourage you that you feel yourself as an important part of this building process of a new Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka needs you.
The children in our school have a passion to study, but we do not have a library. We only have a cupboard for books. A fully equipped library was constructed for the Ittapana Sri Saranankara Primary School in Matukama, adding more support for their educational journey. A 140-foot-long bridge and a staircase was constructed in Palakumbura, Balangada, linking 300 families from 8 villages with each other and the rest of Balangada. Gammadh fulfills a promise to Urgamu Methodist Vidyalaya in Mathura after the Grade 5 Scholarships top achiever made a request from us. Gammadh grows from strength to strength with each project thanks to the support and strength of everyone who have joined us in this journey. Our movement to help the helpless and bring a ray of hope into the lives of many continues with each passing day. Gammadh for the people, by the people.
Construction of the bridge which will link Niangastota and Thanigala across the Walave River commenced today under the auspices of UNP Deputy Leader Minister Sajith Premadasa.
The government has allocated a sum of 270 million rupees for this project. Construction material was handed over for the completion of 270 partially built houses in the area.
I respect the Prime Minister SWRD Bandaranaike despite the fact he represented the opposing party. If his policies were followed to the letter, the housing issue in the country, poverty, issues of the farmers and agrarian community, the fisheries community could have been resolved. However, rather than protecting the people and serving the people, what happened in the past was that the country taken towards destruction. That is the truth. We are pleased that the leadership of the SLFP is one that following the true Bandaranaike policy.
නියම බණ්ඩාරනායක ප්‍රතිපත්තිය අනුගමනය කරන්න පුළුවන් රාජ්‍ය නායකයෙක්. for the first time in Sri Lanka.
Well, that's a wrap of Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Stephanie Lazarus. Good night.